when you need to talk to a private eye.
You want to be talking to Jim Rockford.
That's right. He's the one to talk to.
They don't know who you're talking to.
Rockford.
He's got everyone talking.
What kind of lowlife is he?
Takes out half-page ads in a phone book.
I seem to recall a phrase, moderately intelligent private detective.
You have a smart mouth. You're right, I do. But I'm working on changing that.
Jim Rockford is all the talk on MeTV.
He's something else, all right.
Weekdays at 11:10 Central on MeTV.
Hi, I'm John Malos, and welcome to this live edition of the Connect with Me here on Comcast Cable Channel 187 and 43.6. Today, we're going to introduce you to a local racing family. That's right, striving to the top and also keeping up with that family tradition. 436-ME-TV is the telephone number. Don't forget, hit option 11 and turn down the sound on your television. Back in just a moment. Of course, today is the World of Sports segment here on Connect with Me on Comcast Channel 187 and 43.6, live on the showroom floor at Ventura TV. But before we start with our program today, we want to mention that Joseph Castro has been named to replace John Welty as the president of Fresno State. He is the first Hispanic that will take over that post. He was named, of course, yesterday. We're going to have Pete Mijas again joining us here on Connect with Me in a couple of weeks to talk about that appointment. He was on the board there. He was one of the key figures in naming the new president at Fresno State, Joseph Castro. Now, you might know, if you're a big racing fan, that this coming weekend, Memorial Day weekend, it happens every year, it has for nearly a century, the 97th running of the Indianapolis 500. They call it the greatest spectacle in racing. It's called the Brickyard. You know who's going to drive the pace car this year? It's going to be Jim Harbaugh, the head coach of the San Francisco 49ers. He'll be driving that brand new 2014 Corvette Stingray. But let's talk about the local scene and a local racer trying to strive his way and race his way to the top. Let's go to the videotape and I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about. Kolby Araki has a dream. Hey, we're taking you right inside the cockpit and right along with him. There he is. He's 19 years old, a student at Fresno City College. He's a third-generation racer trying to carry on the family tradition. He's been racing since the age of 5, 14 years. He's got 4 national sprint kart titles, 60 wins overall. That's go-karts, micro sprints, and now he's racing full-time in sprint cars with no rings. Let's go around the track with Kolby Araki. And live in our studio now, like father, like son, on your left is Kolby Araki. He's 19 years old, trying to race his way to the top. We'll see him in the big time racing someday, hopefully. And his dad, alongside him, Bryan, he's an ex-racer. Or does he still race? Well, we'll find out. 436-ME-TV is the telephone number here. Hit option 11. Remember, turn that sound down so we can hear you and you can hear us. Today, like father, like son. Yesterday was kind of the same program. Remember, Mike Hill was here, the son of Pat Hill, the former head football coach at Fresno State. We're back with our program here on the showroom floor at Ventura TV in just a moment.
Frigidaire. We introduced the first home freezer, the first pulsator agitator washer, And now we introduce the Frigidaire Orbit Clean Dishwasher, designed with a unique wash arm that gives you 4 times more water coverage for a consistently better clean. Frigidaire, over 90 years of legendary innovation.
See the full line of Frigidaire appliances at Ventura TV Electronics and Appliances.
And we're back with our program here on Connect with Me, Like Father, Like Son today. And, you know, Father's Day is coming up. The Indy 500's coming up, and we're glad to welcome in Kolby Araki. Good to see you.
Hey. Nice to have me.
Hey, nice to have you. All right. Bryan, how are you?
Good, John.
Hey,
Thank you.
Good to see you. Thanks for bringing your son in. I really appreciate it. So this father-son deal, how'd you get involved in racing? It's the obvious question, but obviously you got involved because of your dad, and
yes.
he has got 2 brothers that raced, and also your dad raced too, right?
Correct.
Yes.
Right. So, you're going to get involved in racing, right?
Yeah. It wasn't forced upon me, though, like everyone thinks. Yeah, I actually had a choice to race or not to race. But as soon as I got strapped in, I was in love with it, so that's kind of where it ended up.
So seriously now, your father never pushed you into it, never said you have to do this, and because I did it, my 2 brothers did it, my dad did it.
Yeah, no, he was, when the time came, he was very open to anything that I wanted to do. That was the one thing that he always stressed. It wasn't, if I wasn't having fun, then he wasn't going to make me do it.
Right.
But of course he wanted me to race really bad. I mean,
he just didn't tell you.
Yeah, that's self-explanatory. But
what other sports did you play?
The sport that I actually stuck with long was soccer. I played soccer for the same amount of time that I've been racing. But I recently stopped my senior year of high school.
Oh, okay.
Just stopped having fun.
Did you play basketball or football or baseball or?
I did, and then I realized I was too short for basketball. So, but yeah, soccer was another love of mine.
Right.
Just stop doing it. Stop having fun.
Yeah.
And that's always been my role too. If I stop having fun, then it's probably time to leave it.
All right. So you're just like any other father. Honestly, now you didn't really push him, did you?
No, I mean, we didn't really push them, but there's a subtle way to do that.
They're really
you buy them little cars and you teach them all the drivers' names.
That's sneaky, Bryan.
It is. But that's how. But it's true. If he wasn't going to be happy with it, if he wasn't going to be good at it, if it was just all going to fall apart, we weren't going to push it.
You know, it's a natural human instinct to want to live your dream through your kids. Did you kind of want to do that?
Well, I got to live my dream really because I got to race, and I grew up around racing too. I remember being as young as 3 years old and being at the go-kart track with my dad, and so I got to race go-karts. I got to race micro sprints and mini sprints and the NASCAR Spec Truck Series. So I got to do what I wanted to do. And then when Kolby became about 5, I was still racing. But we were going in 2 different directions.
So
and
you
I
were
wasn't
still
having
racing
fun.
when he was 5 years old.
Yes.
And he started racing at the age of 5.
Yes.
That must have been a little strange, huh?
Yeah, it was a little different. I actually have times where I remember I was at his races as well, and that didn't make me, that made me really happy because I got to see him do what he also loved. So
right.
I know that he wants to be in a car, but I know he's also happy that he's out there with me as well. So,
are you still itching to get behind the wheel? You must be.
I really am not. I'm having a good time doing what I'm doing with Kolby, and every once in a while I get behind the wheel of a go-kart, and but I don't have that desire. And when you lose that desire, it's time to really get out.
Now, what do you do now? Are you his crew chief?
Yeah, basically I car chief the car, I crew chief the car, and teaching Kolby what I know.
Yeah. I want to turn our viewers, your attention. Actually, I want to turn your attention to the phones right now because it's 436-ME-TV. Hit option 11, turn the sound down. But I want to introduce you to Kolby Araki. In his own words, what he does and how he does it.
my name, Kolby Araki. My home, Clovis, California. My passion, anything racing. I'm a third-generation race car driver. I started racing go-karts when I was 5 years old. I won my first local championship when I was 6. I started driving micro sprints when I turned 8. I had a lot of success in both wing and wingless 600s. My biggest racing accomplishments include 4 national karting championships and over 60 main event wins. It's always been me, my family, and a few friends taking care of the karts, paying the bills, and finding a way to make every race. In 2011, it was time to take a step up as I was offered the opportunity to drive a full-size dirt sprint car. After a few races, we decided to sell all our micro sprint stuff and purchase our own sprint car. We bought a used car and engine, rebuilt it ourselves from the ground up, and got it to the track for a partial season in 2012.
You know, it really is kind of a scary thing to get behind the wheel of a race car. A lot of people like me, I mean, I've done it, I did it once and never again, because it is a scary proposition to get by. Even a sprint car, you could lose control so easily on a dirt track. Isn't that right?
Yeah. Yes.
So how do you learn? I mean, okay, you race go-karts, you start at the bottom, but still, when you get on that dirt track for the first time behind the wheel of that sprint car, even if it's a micro sprint, you have to have control. How do you learn how to do that?
No, I've tried the best I can to try to learn. I mean, I still don't think I know exactly how to do it. But it's mainly it's a feel, I think. And when you learn that feel, then it's all there.
And even your dad, who has so much experience in racing, he really can't tell you or show you how to do it. You kind of have to learn it on your own in the cockpit, right?
Exactly, yeah.
That true, Brian?
That's exactly true. You can't tell somebody how to drive a race car. You can give them the pointers on where they're supposed to be, but you have to learn the seat of the pants and what the reaction is and how to react to what's happening in the car.
Yeah, it's not something you can teach. It's something that you're just going to have to feel and learn on your own. And it really is true, like we talked yesterday, Brian. You know, you look at that movie that was made quite a few years ago, Cars. Of course, I believe, who made that movie? Was it Pixar?
Pixar.
I think it was Pixar that made the movie. Great movie, but that one scene in the movie, they say, to go left,
you have to turn right.
Yeah, have to turn right. Is that true in a sprint car?
Yeah, very true.
Explain why.
Well, with a sprint car, it's designed to go around in a circle. You've got one left rear tire that's smaller than the right rear tire, and it's designed to turn. So it has a lot of what's called rear steer in the car. You actually steer the car with the throttle. So when you're on the gas, it's going to turn left, and when you're off the gas, it's going to want to turn right. So when you get in the corner, you're on the gas. So it automatically kind of yaws out and pitches to the pitches.
So that's why you got to turn right.
That's correct.
It doesn't make sense, but it really does.
Yeah.
All right. Another call here. Good morning. You're on Connect with Me. How are you? Hello. You're on the air. Go ahead. Well, at least I think they were on the line at one time, but that's okay. We'll take the call later on. 436-ME-TV is the telephone number here. Hit option 11. Turn the sound down on your TV. Maybe that was the problem with that one call. If you're listening to us on your television set, you've got to turn that sound down if you call in. Back with our guest in just a moment.
I love playing cowboy.
Come on, let's go.
I'm an old cowhand.
If you're looking for a fight, you're gonna find it.
Hey, you reckon this thing is loaded?
And we're back here, the world of sports, 436-ME-TV, option 11. Turn down the sound on your television set. Gosh, I say that until I'm blue in the face, but it really is true. You got to turn that sound down in order for you to hear us. We're talking with Kolby Araki, his father Bryan, both racers, and you're looking to go straight to the top. Okay, how far do you want to go? What do you want to stay at sprint cars, or do you want to advance up to a different level?
I want to see myself possibly in a NASCAR one day, in the NASCAR Cup Series. But I've always been told to, if I want to stay on the dirt for now, then have my fun on the dirt now, because the transition is harder later on to switch back to dirt if I want to go back. So I've always been told, have fun now in dirt, get the dirt out of the way, and then slowly transition to the asphalt stuff.
You come from a racing family, Bryan. I mean, you know racing inside and out. You have your entire life, okay? How long should Kolby stay in sprints before he tries NASCAR?
Well, the sprint car racing is a good learning tool for any series, and especially with the wingless aspect to it.
Now, when you say any series, that could mean Formula One, it could mean Indy, it could mean NASCAR. Why is that a good training ground? It's
a tough vehicle to drive. It's got a lot of horsepower. It doesn't have a lot of handling capabilities to it. It teaches you a lot of throttle control and steering reaction. So it does play itself well. Tony Stewart's a good example. Jeff Gordon's a good example. There are a number of drivers that have come out of that series.
They're in NASCAR, by
correct.
the way.
Yes.
Yeah.
And but what we've always told Kolby is get that dirt out of the way, because once you go back to asphalt, and he does have a lot of asphalt.
But the question
experience.
is, he's 19 now.
Yeah.
How long should he stick with it? The sprints.
Well, I say stick with it as long as he's having fun doing it, and he's still learning, and because. There is a time when the kids are growing up these days and they're getting into these stock cars really early, and that's great for them. But it's. But
they're getting in too early. Not enough experience.
Not really too early. They are getting a lot of experience and they're getting in. They're being successful.
Okay.
But every driver's different, so there's no set age.
All right. Phone call here. Good morning. You're on Connect with Me. How are you? Okay, another phone call lost there. All right, we got two of them. 436 Me TV. Hang with us here. Remember, option 11, turn down the sound on your television set. I want to go through some photos now, because we talked about the family history. You're third generation. Your two brothers, your dad raced. Let's put that up on the screen right now, and we can talk over what we're exactly looking at here. What are we looking at here, Brian?
This is a article out of a magazine when the Kerman Kart Club opened up their track in the 60s, early 60s. This is how we used to get to the track. Me and my mom, my dad, and my brother, all four of us.
Wow.
In a Ranchero, and of course that's not legal today.
Yeah.
But, this is me and a couple other guys at the Kerman Kart Club back in the 70s when what's called the Pepsi race. It was the biggest valley race in karting.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, every sport racing has its issues, and this is one of the flips of many that I had.
That's you.
That's me.
Wow.
Yeah, that's my brother Glenn in a twin-engine kart. They don't run these twin-engine karts around too much anymore, but that's also at Kerman.
Mm-hmm. We have another one there. Is
this
that you?
This is me and Glenn, my brother, in
What number are you?
I'm 33. Glenn's 34. We built our own karts, our own cars back then, and we raced together. This is when I transitioned to the NASCAR Spec Truck series, just at Mesa Marin, which is now closed.
What series was that?
This is called the NASCAR Spec Truck. Is a traveling series. We ran a number of tracks on the western United States.
Okay, so that's like a smaller version of NASCAR, right?
Correct, yes.
Okay. And I think we're going to end it right there. Oh, we got one more.
Yeah, that's us discussing tire setup at one of the racetracks with the tire specialist.
When did you retire, by the way?
2003.
Okay, that's not all that long ago. What are we looking at there?
That's Kolby trying to emulate what I was doing in the 70s. That was a big wreck there, and he unfortunately didn't get hurt.
Yeah, we'll move this back here. Anyway, so we do have another phone call here. Good morning. You're on Connect with Me. How are you?
Hey, good morning. Hey, it's exciting to see two generations of a local racing dynasty on the show today, and be three generations. I guess if Patriarch Knob would show up on the program. He's sort of Blackie Chichian of midgets and go-karts, and goes back years. Is there any way we could get Kolby or Bryan to talk about the early days and how Knob, dad and grandfather got started in racing and what it was like back in the day? Thanks.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, Grandpa's gone nowadays, but he brought karting to the valley.
That was your father.
Yeah.
Knob Araki.
Yes.
Okay, and when did he race, in the 50s?
Yeah, he brought karting really to the valley in the 50s. He was down south, going down the freeway, and actually had a go-kart pass him on a parking lot. As he's going down the freeway, he had to see what it was all about. And that's how it really all got started. We've been in a number of things, but Dad, he loved racing. He loved anything with speed. He's actually from a farming family, and he's the only brother that left the farm. And
of course, your father, I'm sure, knew all the racing greats from the Central Valley, and you can go ahead and name them. What, Vukovic?
Vukovic, yeah. And there's a ton of them. Boyd, the Gearharts. There's just a bunch
Combos.
of, the Valley was a breeding ground for great talent.
Kinzers? The Kinzers?
Kinzers aren't from here, but they certainly
They raced
travel
here,
through
though.
here a lot. Yes.
Yeah, they raced here a lot. Steve Kinzer, I believe it
Yes.
is. Yeah. And then I'm sure that either you or your father both knew J.C. Agajanian.
Yes.
The racing promoter. He had a few cars back at Indy at one time back in the 80s there.
Correct.
And I'm sure you knew him, and Blackie Jajian.
Yeah, Blackie.
Yeah.
Still see him every once in a while.
Why do you think this is such a breeding ground, in your opinion?
The thing that I've seen, growing up, and is it's the family based. I mean, there's nowhere like that I've known so far. Like, I mean, you can go to your high school, baseball games, your sports, and I mean, you just don't have that feel. I don't feel that same feeling that I feel when I'm out at a racetrack. I mean,
right.
Like I'm there with my dad. I'm, able to spend time with him, and there are moms that go out too as well. So it's a family event, and it's welcome to anybody.
Yeah.
So.
Well, playing football, whether it's in high school or anywhere else, your father is not going to sit in on the dugout during the game, and I'm sure he's not going to be standing next to the head coach on the sidelines of a football game. But in racing, it's a lot different. You're in the garage together, working on the car together, you're doing everything together, you're eating together, you're arguing together, I'm sure. We'll talk about that on the other side of the break. 436-ME-TV, option 11. Remember, turn down that sound, and back in just a moment.
Ventura TV Appliance Center. We're the low-price leading brands reliable advice place. The Whirlpool Dream Kitchen Get Yours Today place. Check this out. Right now, get huge savings on select Whirlpool appliances and pay no interest when paid in full within 6 months. At the hometown low price, think outside the big box place. Since 1951, Ventura TV Appliance Center. We're working hard to be your place.
Why is everybody correcting me? Okay, I meant baseball dugout, okay? Your father's not going to sit in on a baseball game in the dugout, nor is he going to stand on the football field on the sidelines next to the coach. Hey, I hope we can take another call here. Good morning. You're on Connect with Me. How are you?
I'm doing good. How about yourself, John?
Hey, pretty good, man. Speak up just a little bit, please.
I'm doing really good. How about you guys out there today?
Hey, we're doing great. What's your question today?
I'm glad. I'm glad to see the father and son out there, a race team out there doing positive things. I'm very excited that they're on the show today.
That's good. That's good. Do you have any questions?
Yeah, the question I have is, how do you feel about, getting behind a campaign to go help old Jerry Turner out there get a new racetrack out there in Willow? We'd like to have a racetrack in our backyard here. That'd be a lot of fun. And maybe get a grassroots effort to get that going again.
Well, I'd love to see that happen. I'm involved with, of course, politics. I work for the city of Clovis, so I know what Jerry had gone through with that track. I paid a lot of attention to it. There was a lot of environmental issues with that. There were some politics that were going on with that.
Is that ever going to happen?
With Jerry, probably not, but there are plenty of people out here. We have a lot of power out here as far as money and involved with the sport that would like to see that happen too. Of course, Bakersfield just opened their new track last weekend, so that is a huge pivotal facility for.
Is there
Valley.
enough interest here to have a track?
Jerry Turner has the interest still to have the track out there. We just got to get the local support, get behind it, get past those environmental issues, and have a whole new generation of people coming in and getting motivated behind racing.
Is there support here? Yes. Jerry would have huge support. When you go to Tulare or Hanford or Bakersfield, up north tracks, you can't walk around the stands without running into all your friends from Fresno.
Right.
And so these guys are traveling all over the place to go watch.
Ideal place to put a track would be where if it were to go in Clovis?
I don't know about Clovis. It's just not that big of
How about
an
Fresno?
area.
Ideal
Fresno
place?
Probably in the west side.
By 99?
Jerry Turner offered his old property out there, and behind his property, he has so much property to make a track out there.
Perfect place.
Yeah. Problem is on the west side now you've got these new developments coming in, some of the homes. You might have a little bit of at least an outrage maybe to put a racetrack near some homes. I don't know. I'm just guessing. You think that would be a problem?
Well, it's always a problem when you want to propose something like that. But what people the public doesn't really understand is what the impacts really are to them. They see traffic, noise, and pollution, and yeah, you're going to have traffic on major events, but for the most part, racers show up one at a time to the track. They don't all show up at the same time, and you might have one race every month or 2 races a month. So there's those things you have to get over, but we'd be there supporting it all the way as we did before.
Yeah. Let's talk about this father-son relationship. How do you think it's going?
I think it's going really well.
You said that with a little hesitation.
Yeah, no, there's been times that are kind of rough. We've had our spills a little bit, but I mean that's normal for I think any father-son. I mean, if your relationship was great and perfect, then we might have a problem. But so I like it. I'm having
fun. But the fact that you bump heads every once in a while is healthy, right?
Yes,
it's good.
Yes, of course.
It's a healthy thing.
Of course, yeah. Yeah. If we didn't, then I would be questioning.
What do you bump heads about? What do you argue about?
I'd like to say that we'd argue about car setup every now and then, but I don't really know what to do with car setup, so I can't really bump his head on that. But the main thing that kind of will either irritate me a little, but not like too much, is just like certain things like with just driving in general, or we'll have like
telling you how to do it.
He's not telling me how to do it. He we both have our own opinions because we're both racers, so we both have our certain way of doing things, and some things might be out of my comfort zone that maybe he has tried, and I don't know whether I want to try it or not. So sometimes I'll try it, and then if it doesn't work, then I get kind of like upset. I'm like, well, that didn't work. So, but his idea is just try it. Try something new. And I know the reason why he's doing it is to help me out. Yeah. And I know that he's not trying to be rude, or he's just giving his opinion.
Yeah, he's not jumping your case just to jump your case. So you want to chime in here?
Yeah, and he's real good about listening and doing what I ask him to do. Not that he has to, because I don't drive full size sprint cars. I don't drive the wingless cars. I don't know, but what I do is I just try to see what others are doing on the track and where the good part of the track is, and just kind of coach him.
Okay, before we run out of time, let's put up that another slideshow that we have there, Ara, and let's roll it, and you can talk about it, Bryan, and Kolby, you can jump in here too. And what are we looking at here?
This is Kolby in this Wing 600 class. This is when he was running restricted and was real successful. This is our car today that we just put together and ran for the first time 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
And was very successful in it. This is on the track at that same race. This is at Hanford. During one of the heat races.
That's the car that Kolby is driving now.
Correct.
The sprint car.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. How does that? That's Kolby again.
Yeah.
How does that car feel?
It feels good. I mean, I don't know what to really compare it to, but it feels good. I mean, it doesn't turn right on me.
No,
so.
that's a used sprint car, right?
Yes.
It's used. Mm-hmm. Why did you buy it used?
Just budget reasons.
Okay.
Purely budget reasons. And there's a lot of good equipment out there. A lot of big teams, they run a car one season at most, and then they're getting rid of it. Mm-hmm. And it's just the fact that they're always on new equipment.
The fact is, it's a tough thing to make the jump to NASCAR. Have you ever thought about what you might do if you don't make that leap? That quantum leap?
Yeah, I've always thought, and I always have. I mean, so far I've tried to have a backup plan.
Which is what?
Right now, like I'm going to City College. I go full time. I carry 18 units, and try to work.
That's a load, man.
Yeah, I try to work part time as well. So right now I'm studying auto technician. So I'll somewhere along the lines, if it goes all as planned, then I'll maybe end up in a new car dealer somewhere and work as a technician at your local dealership. Yeah. So I've always thought, and I know that I haven't backed on that plan. Like, that's going to happen, but I always have a backup plan.
Sadly, we're out of time already. But you know what? I think you're going to make it. Good luck to you.
Thank you.
Stick with it and listen to this guy.
Yeah.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you very much, and good luck to you, Kolby.
Thank you.
Lots of luck. Anything we can do to help out, let us know. Hey, that's going to do it for us today. Tomorrow, Steve Brandow, the city councilman, talking about what else? Garbage. Back tomorrow, and then have a great weekend.
Look at that. Isn't that a great layout?
You son of a gun! This campaign is no good. No good!
Darren and Larry, the original Mad Men on Bewitched.